Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my TNA Impact Wrestling pre-review for this Thursday night, April the 17th, 2014. Alright. For my thoughts on tonight's Impact, a pretty decent Impact tonight. We had a basically violent main event tonight. Of course, as you see in the title, we had a Monsters Ball match. We had 2 titles on the line tonight. Plus, we had the return of the Olympic gold medalist, Kurt Angle, being away for a couple weeks. He returns tonight. Plus, a couple matches made for the next TNA pay-per-view. Sacrifice seeds are planted for more matches at the pay-per-view. Those matches will be discussed when I get to them. Let's kick off with the new TNA World Champion, Eric Young, or as I like to call it, TNA's version of whipping off WWE. WWE's got a bearded World Champion. Let's have our own bearded World Champion, TNA says. Let's have Eric Young win the title from Magnus last week with no interference. Now, I said it last week, and I'll say it again. As a person, Eric Young's a hard-working guy. He's been dedicated to the company, loyal to the company, loyal employee through the hard times. As a person, he deserves the championship. But as a character, it's kind of weird to see Eric Young, the comedy relief guy, be the world champion. That's like Santino Morella being the WWE Heavyweight Championship. I said that last week, but hey, what can you do? Because I like Eric Young, even though he's a comedy guy. But anyway, Eric Young is celebrating his big victory for TNA, being the champ and all. He's looking forward to defending it against anybody, anywhere and every time. He'll be a fighting champion. Until, indeed, we had an interruption from Dixie Carter. She's no longer the wrestling operations person, but she's still the president of the company. Of course, she made a return on screen last week. And she, of course, came on screen this week saying that Eric Young, you don't deserve to be my champion or champion of this company. And she even said, we're going to give you a makeover. Now TNA is copying WWE, having Eric Young against the Authority. Or in this case, Eric Young against Dixie Carter. Because they're trying to copy the whole D-Boy's not going to be champion thing. The Authority doesn't want to be champion. Same thing with TNA trying to copy WWE like they always do. Like I said, that Dixie Young doesn't want Eric Young to be her champion. So as they were having an argument, and Eric Young stood his ground saying, I'm not going to be your champ. I'm not going to conform to you. I'm going to be what I am. And that's EY, bitch. Then Billy Ray came out saying that EY, I don't say this to a lot of people, you deserve this championship. You're one of the best guys in this company. And EY wants to celebrate. So Dixie, nah, 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 hey, goodbye, you bitch. So EY was, of course, celebrating. He went backstage and confronted by Abyss, saying that, so EY, you said you would defend your title against anybody, anywhere, anytime. How about tonight? Me and you for the title. Eric Young's like, let's go one step further, making a Monsters Ball match. So our main event would be the Monsters Ball match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. While we get ready for that, we have the Knockouts Champion in action, non-title, in a knockout street fight against Velvet Sky. Of course, Angelina Love, her little partner in crime, was at ringside. And Angelina Love won a gauntlet, not a gauntlet, but a fatal four-way match last week. She has won the opportunity to face off against Madison Wayne, and it will be, indeed, Knockouts tied on the line at Sacrifice will be Angelina and Madison, one of many matches made for Sacrifice. We had, of course, I wish there was more weapons in this match. You know, at least TNA has the balls to put Knockouts in a street fight, unlike another company that won't let the Divas even close to a steel cage. WWE. Anyway, there were some good weapons used in this match. Should have used a little bit more. Like, they used a cookie sheet a little bit. And of course, being it was no DQ match, of course, Velvet was going to use it and abuse it. And Angelina getting involved in any way at all, trying to interfere with any interference at all, distractions, pulling Velvet's opponent out of the ring and attacking Madison at ringside. It was a decent street fight. Like I said, I wish there was more. Yes, I think there was a trash can used. And like I said, a cookie sheet used. There was a candlestick used as attempt. But that was thrown as we got the end of the match with Madison getting back control after the little advantage from Velvet with little help from Angelina. But as Anthony was going to take care of business by nailing Miss Madison with the candlestick. Madison thwarted it and went down and got the big wall up in the victory on Velvet. As Madison Wayne, despite interference from Angie, got the victory, getting us some momentum for their match at Sacrifice for the title. So like I said, there should be more weapons used, but it was an okay knockouts fight. At least the Monsters Ball match was pretty good. At least the men would use a lot of weapons. It was pretty violent indeed, the main event. So, as we were to see after that little matchup, we got MVP coming out, talking about, of course, Samoa Joe being out and being disgruntled. That's storyline way of saying it. That I read that Samoa Joe's taking some time off. Whether it's, and I want to say this. I'm going to be honest here. TNA is making some dumb choices right now. They're getting rid of a lot of the originals. I just read that Chris Sabin left. That he got fired recently. I'm hearing it may be, I don't know if this is official yet, but last I heard, they were thinking about letting go Cass and Daniels. Are they crazy? They lost AJ, and now they may lose Joe. God, man, TNA's, I love TNA, but it's like they make all these stupid choices. I've said this a long time. TNA is like the Detroit Lions. They have so much going for them, but they fuck it up everywhere by doing dumb things like getting rid of great people. Like Sabin's gone, and now Cass and Daniels may be leaving. Some of the best guys in the company, and they're loyal guys. Yet you give the world champion to Eric Young, and you do contracts for guys like Bullmans. You know, like I said, TNA makes some dumb moves. Went over. But anyway, when it comes to storyline, MVP says Samoa Joe's out. He's disgruntled. Storyline-wise, Joe hasn't had a fair shake for the title. He's been put in triple threat matches and interferences galore. Not a fair one-on-one match between him and Magnus. Until Magnus lost the championship, of course, to Mr. Eric Young. So as MVP was addressing Joe's being begruntled, disgruntled, should I say. Another man who's been disgruntled and on the bench, Austin Aries. I saw a sign that said, "We want AA." Well, they wanted AA. They got double A. They got Austin Aries. And Aries is like, "You're punishing me because I was on Team Dixie's side. I chose my side, and you're punishing me for taking Dixie's side in this. Because I didn't trust you, whatever." So MVP is like, "Yo, AA, you don't need no validation? You want some participation?" He took a suit off. It looked like MVP and Austin Aries are going to get it on. They were going to get it on. And Aries is like, "Yeah, I'm going to fight you next week." So next week we got MVP taking on Austin Aries. A lot of matches involving MVP taking on his employees. You know, MVP took on Kenny King 2 weeks ago. And then Kenny King beat him up in the back. Beat him up in the parking lot. And now next week we got MVP wrestling again against Austin Aries. See how that goes. But till then we have MVP's boys, American Wolves, the Wolves, of course, Davey Richards. No, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards getting another shot against the Bullmans. It's the third week in a row that the tag team titles have been up for grabs, or at least been in a storyline situation. 2 weeks ago, they were supposed to defend against the Wolves. Jesse got injured. Last week, the Wolves took on, or at least Jesse and Zima, because they said that Robbie had a flank delay, but got disqualified. And this week we had another screwy ending involving the Wolves and the Bullmans for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Wolves came in like a house of fire, being motivated by the shenanigans that the Bullmans have been pulling in the last couple weeks. And I bitch about Bullman. I'm not the biggest fan of theirs, but they had some great double team work. They really isolated Davey in the middle half of this matchup, isolating him and getting quick tags in and out and really taking care of him in the corner and refusing to let him get a chance to get to his corner and tag Eddie. But indeed, he would find a chance. He would roll up and jump up and tag in Eddie with the hot tag into Eddie, coming in at the House of Fire. And the Wolves, I want the Wolves to be champs again. I bet you they will be champs again. I smell sacrifice, especially from the ending of this matchup. As indeed, the Bullmans, after their advantage in the middle half with their isolation, like I said, Eddie got the hot tag in. He really took care of the Bullmans, and they were looking like they were going to get the victory with a double team move with both guys going off the top rope, delivering big splashes into Jesse, Like one guy was in this corner, one guy was in this corner, big splash, big splash. And as the Wolves were pinning Jesse and going for the 1, 2, 3 count, Zima Iron came in with his laptop computer, nailed the Bowman in the back. Jesse nailed the Wolf in the back, causing another disqualification victory for the Wolves as the Bowman saved their asses and their titles again by getting DQ'd. Last week was Robbie E's interference. This week it was Jesse and Robbie's DJ Z coming in with the interference with the laptop. So I believe that they'll get an even share. I think with these little shenanigans, these disqualifications, it's going to pile up. That Bowman's will be probably to be put in like a no DQ match. And Zima Iron's banned from the ring. Because I think they're going to take on each other at Sacrifice. That's what I'm thinking now. They're going to have Sacrifice, tag team titles, Bowman's, and the Wolves. There'll be some sort of stipulation to prevent a disqualification. So I think the Wolves will finally get a legitimate reign as TNA World Champions, World Tag Team Champions. They've had a reign, but only for a millisecond. So while we're waiting for the Wolves to become champions, I'm guessing at Sacrifice, on with the next matchup, which was made last week, Willow's had his problems with anyone that was associated under the reign and tutelage of Dixie Carter. Especially Rockstar Spud. He's been kind of infatuated with Rockstar Spud for the last couple of weeks. Especially after Rockstar Spud kind of caused Hardy to be knocked off the ladder during his match against Magnus back in November for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, which caused him to go crazy and adapt this new alter ego known as Willow. So he's been attacking Rockstar Spud for the last couple of weeks, even having Spud cost him an opportunity at the World Title Shot opportunity in the Gauntlet last week. So he challenged them to the handicap match, and the handicap match was accepted with EC3 and Willow and Rockstar Spud. Now, indeed, Willow, he was one man. He was trying to outnumber both guys. But, of course, the numbers game got to Willow in the later half of this matchup after an early going from Willow. Hardy's a little crazy. I kind of like Willow. They're selling the umbrellas. And they won't sell the Shields masks on WWEshop.com, yet they're going to sell Willow's umbrella. Seriously, those Shield masks, or should I say, I've always said that TNA's ripped off WWE. I think WWE's ripping off TNA. Because WWE's ripping off the Aces and Eights masks for the Shield. Shield's been wearing those masks that look like the Aces and Eights masks. So, I mean, both companies rip each other off. They're even now. TNA whips off WWE by having their bearded guy become world champion, like WWE made the Bryan their world champion, and EY is the TNA champion. They both have beards. And WWE's ripping off the Ace and Eights masks for the Shield. Anyway, after the 2-on-1 attack and Spud, we want Spud chance. That was interesting. But then Spud instantly tagged into EC3, and of course, Willow came back with a House of Fire, nailing both guys down and delivering a twist of fate in the victory in this handicap match, outrunning the numbers. But I knew one man was going to be involved in this matchup, a man who's been hinted to return for the last specifically last week. He said on TNA.com he was going to return soon. EC3 better watch his back. The man that storyline injured him, of course, Kurt Angle, the guy that EC3 injured a few weeks ago. I thought that Angle was going to come out. I thought Willow was going to get his ass beat during the match, and then Angle was going to come out to help Willow during the match. Ended up being after the match for Angle's return. So as Willow celebrated his victory, EC3 and Spud went right at Willow. And as EC3 was setting up the ankle lock, here comes Kurt Angle himself, coming in for the save, making his return and suplexing the hell out of EC3 out of the ring, challenging him to another match. I predict that will be at Sacrifice as well. It wasn't official, but I think it will be at Sacrifice. So there you go. Now, speaking of matches I believe will be at Sacrifice, will be match 3 of the best 2 out of 3 series involving Sonata and Tigre Uno. Now, 2 weeks ago we had the best 2 out of 3 series begin with match 1 with Sonata getting the victory. Now, if you ever seen best 2 out of 3 matches, or best 2 out of 3 series, or best 3 out of 5 series, or best 5 out of 7 series in wrestling, Like, you don't see a guy win 2 straight. There's always a time. And it always comes down to the deciding fall or the deciding match. If it's a best 2 out of 3, you know it's going to be tied at 1-1, and it's going to be the match 3. If it's best 3 out of 5, it's going to be 2-2. And the 5th match is the deciding match. And that's what's going to happen here. Sonata and Tiga, they should have more promotion for this match in this series. I like the first match 2 weeks ago. In my mind, it should have been the best 3 out of 5, in my opinion. Because said this 2 weeks ago, they had a great tag team series involving Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns. They had the best 3 out of 5 series. Awesome matches. And 2 weeks ago, the first match was pretty decent. The second match was okay. A man who wants to challenge the winner of this series, he made it known 2 weeks ago, interrupting their first match, Kenny King, and now he was commentating the second match in this series. So I believe that Kenny King will take on the winner of this series. And like the first match, it's a pure wrestling clinic. It's the both high-flying guys. They're very technical. Give themselves a good wrestling clinic because you have a Mexican guy taking on a Japanese guy. You know, the Sonata guy is kind of mentored by a huge legend in Japanese wrestling, the Great Muta. Big legend in the industry. Took on many people, especially when he worked for WCW. Sting comes to mind. Too bad it doesn't work for TNA anymore. Maybe with WWE, we saw him on the network on the Warrior clip. Speculation galore here. Anyway, we saw Sonata taking on Tiga Uno, and I kind of expected Tiga Uno to get the victory in the second match, like I said, going down in the rubber match. In the third match would be at sacrifice, and indeed that's what happened. Great high-flying moves for both guys, great wrestling maneuvers, great handoffs, switch-offs. But indeed, the victory went to Tiga Uno with a big move, a corkscrew plancha off the top rope, and a 1-2-3 victory for Tiga Uno. Pretty good matchup. I think the third match will be pretty good. And I bet you the third match will be at sacrifice. The match to determine the winner of this series. The third match for sacrifice. It's not official yet, but I bet you that's where that final match will take place. Speaking of matches that are official for sacrifice, we found out officially a Ruby Tables match involving Bully Ray and Bobby Roode. Of course, 2 weeks ago, we saw Bully Ray be put through not 1, not 2, but 3 tables by Bobby Roode. 1 as part of their tag team table match, and 2 more as part of extracurricular post-match activity. So tonight, in preparations for that tables match, Bobby Roode would call out an open challenge. And I thought maybe it was going to be Bobby Lashley because Bully Ray talked to the man unknown at the time to be a part of that match. That he's the only guy who can do it. And he said, hoo-ha! Because Bobby Lashley's a army guy. Instead, Bully Ray was talking to a Marine. Of course, I'm referring to Gunner. Coming in for this tables match. Now, this was a decent little tables match. Both guys, of course, had great opportunities to put one or the other through the table, and of course, missed it. As both guys were beating the crap out of each other. Like I said, many opportunities to put each other through tables. And at least, both men had, like I said, great opportunities. Missed a lot of times, but indeed, Gunner had the upper advantage during the later half of this matchup, with Roode being a sly little it factor cocky self. Of course, the king of the forgot his nickname of the ignorant revolution or generation. Forgot what he said. Besides being the it factor, the ruthless generation or something. Or the voiceless generation. Not voiceless, that's CM Punk. But anyway. Later on in the matchup, like I said, Roode finding his gunning ways. He did nail Gunner with a spine buster move. He was going for the Roode bomb many times. But of course, Gunner would come in with some big moves against Roode, setting him up for a big splash. He climbed up to the top rope, going for a big splash off the top to put Roode through that table. But as he was setting it up, here comes James Storm, distracting Gunner enough to have Roode go up and side suplex off the ropes to Gunner to the table, but the table did not break. Only the top of it break. He did not went through the table. But the Roode bomb did the job, sending Gunner through the table in the victory for Bobby Roode in this table match with help from James Storm. I say, Bill Money Reunion, we saw them teaming up a few weeks ago, and also teaming up in the Gauntlet match last week. I think the seeds are being planted for a full-time Beer Money reunion since they're both heels. And as they were going to do some double team moves, like Wood was going to lift up Gunner to get super kicked by Storm, but then Billy Ray came to the rescue before Storm could get that super kick onto Gunner. And a challenge was made and accepted. It will be next week besides seeing MVP take on Austin Aries. We have James Storm and Bobby Roode. Beer Money. Not official yet, but I say the reunion's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to see a reunion of Beer Money taking on Bully Ray and Gunner in a match next week. I don't know if it's a tables match. Might be a tables match. So they're going to tag team title match next week, or just a regular tag team match next week involving those 4 men. On to our next matchup. The most brutal, violent, hardcore match I've seen in a long time. TNA title on the line. First title defense for EY. Eric Young taking on the Monster Abyss. I thought Magnus was going to get involved to kind of get a screwy ending, but thankfully did not get a Magnus interference or any interference at all. A lot of weapons, especially when Eric Young came wide off the bat, nailing Abyss with some great moves with a cookie sheet. There were some great spots. There was like 5 great spots in this matchup. The first spot came as Eric Young had the advantage. He flew over the middle rope to land on Abyss, but as he was flying in midair through the middle rope, like here's Abyss holding, no, here's Eric Young flying, and here's Abyss with the trash can. Like Eric Young was like, bang! He went through the middle rope, and Abyss nailed him in midair with the trash can. That was the first great spot of this matchup. Another great spot later on as Abyss took control. Following that trash can hit, he set up a chair in between the turnbuckle and nailed Eric Young into it, and he was stuck for a few seconds as he, like, here's Eric Young and here's the chair. Eric Young got clotheslined through the turnbuckle, through the chair, and he got stuck for a little while. That was another great spot. Third best spot involved a cheese grater. I saw it pulled out as both guys were just beating the crap out of each other. And I saw Eric Young, I thought he was going to scrape Abyss's head. He scraped his nether regions. He low-blown them with the cheese grater, started like pulling on his nuts with the cheese grater. He kind of scraped it a little bit to take it off. That was like, wow, that was very physical, very violent, very intense there. And EY was going to be put through the tax. That was spot number 4. Despite the cheese grater, Abyss came flying back with some big power moves and pulled out the big bag of tacks and chokeslammed Eric Young through those tacks. That was great spot number 4. This is basically a spot fest as Monster Ball match. And I was like, where's the blood? Man, we've seen some great weapons being used. The trash can, a candlestick attempt, the chair, and the cheese grater. We've seen no blood yet. But when Eric Young went through those tacks, yay, blood! So, best spot number 5 in the finish. Abyss, despite all of his punishment, nailing EY with the thumbtacks and everything, he still would not die. So, Eric Young was going to be put through a sheet of barbed wire being pulled out by Abyss. But before Abyss could do that, Eric Young drop kicked Abyss's ass onto the board. And Abyss was stuck to that board following that drop kick. Eric Young went up the top. And Abyss threw on the board. Got a big elbow off the top from EY. That's spot number 5. In the finish with Abyss still stuck to that board after the thumbtack elbow move. Not thumbtack elbow, but you know what I meant. The elbow from the top of the Abyss on the board of barbed wire. 1, 2, 3 victory. EY retains the World Heavyweight Championship in his first defense. I believe it's going to be either one of 2 scenarios. EY against Magnus, EY against Abyss, or triple threat EY against Abyss and Magnus. But I will predict that EY will defend his championship. Either against 1 or 2 guys. Time will tell. Maybe we'll find out next week whether Eric Young will defend in a 1-on-1 match against either Magnus or Abyss, or be a triple threat, because both guys are owed a rematch. Specifically, more in Magnus's case, because he was the former champion. Paper champion indeed. So Eli retained against Abyss in a violent match, great Monsters Ball match. I've seen better Monster Ball matches, but it was a really good violent one. Some great spots involving a chair, trash cans, dump tacks, even a cheese grater, and dump tacks. So that is it for tonight's Impact Wrestling review. Of course, next week we got MVP taking on Austin Aries. We also got Bully Ray and Gunner taking on Beer Money. I mean, James Storm and Bobby Weird. They're not officially back as Beer Money yet, but I smell it. And of course, we got matches for Sacrifice being, and of course, Velvet's partner Angelina will be taking on Madison Rain for the title. There's, of course, April 27th Sacrifice. Bully Ray against Rude in a tables match. And maybe James Storm's going to take on Gunner and I Crit match. I don't think that was official yet, but that may happen too. And I predicted Young will defend his title either in a one-on-one match or triple threat. And I also predict the rubber match for the best 2 out of 3 series involving Sanada and Tigre Uno. And I also predict the tag team titles on the line, Wolves against Bromance. I bet you all 3 of those matches will be made next week. And like I said, that's it for this week's review. See you all later. With that in mind, you've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much. And have a very happy and safe Easter weekend, everybody. See you later. Hippity hoppity hoppy. Yeah.